What's up, everybody? All right, so Jirard Khalil has come back out. He is putting out a statement. He says we deserve answers after a year of silence. I think that he deserves to be heard out, honestly. I do think he did wrong. I think that he should have condemned what his brother and dad were doing. He should have made it clear. Whenever he found out that it wasn't donated, he should have changed his wording. I get that he was probably trying to say, hey, we're going to try and keep the appearance of the fact we've donated things, even though they hadn't. And maybe behind the scenes he was hoping to get his dad and brother to donate while he was working on this. But with that, it's one of those cases that he needs to... He handled it horribly. I don't think that Jirard himself is a villainous person. The one thing I had a problem with from his original response was, I empathized with him feeling trapped. I empathized with him feeling like his world was crumbling. I empathized with him on a bunch of stuff. But whenever he threatened to sue Carl and Mundahar, is it Mundahar or Mudahar? I don't know which one it is. I have to look that up later. You don't threaten lawsuits on stuff that's completely legitimate. Everything they found was real. The conspiracy theory stuff is a question. I think that personally, Carl, in the videos he made, acted like the dad was the biggest threat and issue in this. So with that, I think that honestly, if Carl had just gone from the start to saying all the fishy stuff and specifically highlighted the issues with his dad, I feel like Jirard would have come out cleaner. I don't know what Carl had found, but I feel like Carl, I feel like him holding on to stuff was, just not as good. I feel like it was semi-scummy, or whatever the case you would call it. But, yeah, with that, we're going to hear what Jirard has to say. We're going to give him his 45 minutes. I'm going to pause it here and there to talk if I have something to say, but, yeah.
Hey, everyone. My name is Jirard Khalil. In 2012, I started my YouTube channel, That One Video Gamer, and for the last 13 years of my life, I have been completing games and making a lot of videos about the things that I absolutely love.
I see no lies.
On
so
November
far.
13th, 2023, two content creators named Carl Jobst and Mudahar Anas made videos detailing on how my family's charity, the Open Hand Foundation,
seen Carl do some
had
really
not made a
biased
contribution
shit,
since its
but
founding,
I don't think there was anything
despite
biased
numerous
in
fundraisers and misleading statements by myself about charitable partners. Within a matter of days, and before I really had any opportunity to present any information of my own, the narrative had shifted. I was being accused of embezzlement and charity fraud, with Carl and Mudahar directing their viewers to report
Jirard
my
was
family's
doing
charity
embezzlement.
to the authorities.
I
prompting
always had
a
the
criminal
thought that it was
investigation
something with
by
his
the
dad
Department
and
of
brother.
Justice. We were
Specifically,
informed
I had
the
a feeling about his
investigation officially
dad.
wrapped up in the fall of 2024. All that remained was a meeting with the Department of Justice to clear up any lingering questions, such as why the Open Hand had been mass flagged in the first place.
An investigation is fine.
I was constantly told by the Department of Justice that this is the final meeting, and the final meeting was right around the corner. But officially now, over a year has passed since then. I didn't want to speak publicly about this whole investigation until I had those final results in my hand, hence my silence all this time. The honest truth is that the Department of Justice will not respond to any emails, despite telling Open Hand's lawyers that they're interested in one final meeting to close the case. It has been over a year waiting on this matter, and the fact of the matter is, I need to move on. Whenever I get this final documentation, whatever it says, I don't care what it is, I will share the results with whatever I am legally allowed to share.
That is a good thing, that he is fully committed to fully sharing whatever the results are.
That the accusations of fraud and embezzlement will be proven false. However, even if we never broke the law, serious moral mistakes were still made by myself and the foundation. The open hand took far too long to donate. We never explained why it took so long until after everyone called us out. And I lied about this for all of Indieland.
This is a good point for Jirard, because even if what he said is 100% right, even if the DOJ investigation says, all right, you did not embezzle, you did not cheat people, you didn't do anything fraudulent, I do think that Carl has a serious fucking issue with trying to issue condemnation, or trying to do a point of judgment. It takes him out of the realm of being a journalistic body whenever he's trying to pass judgment on people. But that being said, Jirard is good on this for admitting that even if the DOJ report says you guys did nothing wrong, he is openly saying right now, we screwed up with our moral obligation. So that is a positive. It's way better. So far, we're 2 minutes into this, and right now his video is day and night better than the one he did a year ago.
Years, both knowingly in 2023 and unknowingly in all the years before. But it doesn't matter what kind of explanation either I or anyone else involved might provide. This happened, and rightfully
I never realized
so,
his hair
it
was
pissed
so
off
curly,
everyone.
though. Look at those
To
curls.
my viewers and donors, friends and collaborators, I am so sorry for hiding the truth. It was selfish, full stop. I want you all to have the context as to how everything happened, but nothing I've said so far is an excuse, and neither is anything else in this video.
Just tell
All
the
of
truth.
this
The truth
is
will
on
set you
me.
free.
Even if it wasn't exactly how I imagined things would go, my goal always was to make sure this money got donated to the right place as quickly as possible.
I believe
and
that,
I'm immensely
honestly. I think
thankful
it's
that
on
it
his
got
dad
done.
and brother.
So, with that in mind, I'm sure many of you still have a ton of questions, especially about why this happened in the first place and where I've been for the past year. I want to take some time to tell my side of the story and how we got here, but I also want to clear up many of the false accusations made against me, along with addressing the individuals who not only broke this story, but pushed it into the realm of conspiracy.
And that's the question.
So,
what's conspiracy and
just
what's
in case
real?
all of you are wondering,
Because it's one thing to
this
report
is in fact
facts
scripted. I
that
am reading from a script.
are things
but
like,
I want to be clear. The
are
words
things
that you're hearing
like,
today,
hey, we didn't donate these $700,000. You're correct. That is fact. Looking at projections of additional revenue sources like the golf thing, that is, quasi-science. You're looking at previous years, you're looking at how many attendees, you're projecting off of the current year and the current attendees to try and get a general estimate. I still want an answer for where that money went, but Jirard did need to have a lesson on legal definitions, because him saying specific phrases is a complete shift. Him saying that all the donations are going to whichever charity he's talking about at the time for dementia research, that people were still going to donate, Jirard, even if you said, yeah, we have all the donations are going after we pay for this event. Because people are going to expect, hey, that makes sense. You need to pay for the event to fundraise the however many $120,000 or however much it was each year. That makes sense. As long as it's not that you're reporting $100,000 of the $120,000 was for the event, people are going to accept that. They're going to say, hey, cool, that's totally understandable and we support you. So the lie was completely unnecessary and dirtied the waters. So Jirard, if by some freak chance you find this video, dude, I empathize with you. I feel for you. But you built a community that loved you, supported you, and had your back. You should not be afraid to be honest to that community. I understand, truly, I understand how scary it is to say something to someone that is not something you think they want to hear, but you'd have had no issue. No one would have even blinked an eye. They'd have all gone, totally makes sense. You cover the cost, we're good.
They are me and only me. There's nobody else trying to influence what I say here. I just want to be
glad
sure
that we know that there's no
everything I say
lawyer
is
talk involved
accurate
in this.
to the receipts I'm providing, to my own experiences, and most importantly, that you are hearing the truth straight from me, not behind lawyers, other content creators, or voiceovers disembodied by random gameplay footage. So for now, let's go back to where all this began.
The random
with my
gameplay
mom.
footage call out.
When I was young, I lost my mom to frontotemporal dementia.
Yes,
and she
and
lived with
I
that
hate
disease
that.
for roughly 16 years. When she passed away in 2013,
This is one thing I want to say. Carl, it was not cool of Carl to do stuff like, okay, Jirard should not use his mom's disease as a shield. It is an experience, and you can use it to say, this is why I behaved this way in my personal thing, but don't try to empathy shield. Your mom died young, and that sucks. I always will empathize on him for that, because our loved ones matter, period. But Carl doing any amount of focus on the mom's disease stuff, like Jirard could be telling the truth that he was told his mom survived it longer than anyone. He may not have ever gone to even look. This is one of those things that it was just the stupidest thing for Carl to focus on. And Carl has, like, he turned those videos into, I want to point out every single thing that Jirard has done wrong ever, and lost focus with the idea of, we want to make Open Hand Foundation do the right thing. I do think that Jirard did a lot of lying. I do. But there's certain things that were just unnecessary to go into. And I do think, as someone who is extremely empathetic, who someone doesn't want conflict, who's someone who doesn't want to disappoint people that look up to them, I understand the idea of, I don't want to tell you this negative thing. I understand the concept of, oh yeah, I want to make you guys proud. I understand that fully and completely. So it's very easy to give those little lies here and there. But at the same time, his doctor very well could have told him, your mom's surviving longer than so many other frontal temporal dementias. You know? He could have heard it from someone else and thought that's totally right.
Family officially launched a charity organization called the Open Hand Foundation, with the mission of raising awareness and money for dementia research, educational tools, and helping families. We saw a real need after the frustrations we had personally experienced working with UCSF and how they handled our contributions, both financially and with my mom's own body parts. Before my mom passed...
Whoa, Jirard, that is a scary thing to say suddenly. So they've now he says that they created this foundation specifically because whichever foundation he just said misused his mom's body. That is screwed up, dude. Like, I would hate people if they abused my mom's body. Like, holy cow, dude. That's unacceptable from them. You know? At least that's my view of it. Because I think that bodies are something that is to be respected when it's gone.
Away, my family was assured of how incredibly helpful her donation would be and what a difference it would make to the research. Well, imagine our frustration when, after donating our mom's brain and spinal cord, along with several thousands of dollars, we were told that her body parts were pretty much useless by a staff of completely different people that we didn't even know anymore. It made my family feel like we had just given away my mom's body parts for nothing, with the contribution feeling more like a...
I would have I would be looking at anything I could do to get at them. Because handing over. Oh man, I can't even imagine that.
Feel good courtesy than a worthwhile sacrifice. This is where the Open Hand Foundation began, and with it, the need for knowing how charitable contributions actually get spent. And as for me, I didn't really get involved into any of this until I reached a place in my career where I really felt like I could use my platform to make a big difference. In 2018, my best friends and I created Indieland, a 24 to 60 hour live stream event where we would play and promote indie games with the people who made them, raising money for charity with all of you at home watching, cheering us on as I went through tons of gross physical challenges at my own expense. Indieland went on for 6 years, and my team and I were so thrilled to see our little show succeed. However, after we finished our 5th show in November of 2022, I spoke with my family about all the good we were doing, and I really wanted to get a representative from one of our charity partners to come and speak at Indieland 2023. Only then did I learn that the Open Hand Foundation had never made a contribution since its...
Big thing to remember, Jirard was just a front-facing person. His dad and brother were the ones actually running it. If I were in Jirard's shoes, I'd have been furious with my dad and brother at this point in 2023. As soon as they said, oh, yeah, we haven't donated anything, we have no contacts, I'd have been like, I'm about to sue you guys so that I can get all the money and donate it myself. At least all the money that he had raised himself. Because even he was being lied to by his dad and brother.
Founding, and there were no official partners. All the money was sitting there, untouched and accounted for, ready to be donated. But at the time, there was a massive disagreement between myself and my family. I personally thought it was important that the money be donated right away. Meanwhile, my family's perspective was very different than mine. They had been negotiating with several organizations to establish contracts.
Because, really quick, I feel like I paused it because I don't want to cut off what he's about to say. Or override what he's about to say. I feel like the first time around a year ago, Jirard wanted to protect his family because he's always sought his dad's approval. That's something he's talked about in shows and stuff like that. As someone who also spent my entire life trying to get my dad's approval, okay, cool. But I'm not going to let myself fall to protect my dad. Especially since his dad clearly was just fine with letting his entire career that Jirard built up from scratch go down the tube just to protect him and Jacques. I would find that disgusting about my dad if he did that to me. And my dad would never do that to me. My dad would rather fall on the sword for me than me fall on the sword for him. If he was in the same situation, my dad would have probably said, let me explain it to people. I'll explain what's going on, and I'll explain that you had no part of it.
To take a bulk sum of money as a
Guess
restricted
it's a difference
donation.
in quality of dad, though.
These conversations revealed that many of these potential organizations were happy to take the money, but didn't want to track what they saw as a low sum compared to the 6 to 7 figure amounts they were used to receiving from mostly corporate interest groups. After a lot of tough conversations over the years, my family settled on a goal of raising $1 million before donating, hoping that this would be a massive milestone that would help organizations to take the foundation way more seriously. But I didn't know about any of this, and I didn't care. I wanted it to go to a reputable charity that would do great things with it right away. That means for the next 12 months, I knew about the money not being donated and was having constant conversations to get it to the right place, trying to repair relationships and negotiate in good faith with several different...
I do want to know, like, an official answer on whether or not the organizations actually said that they wouldn't do it, or if the dad and brother were just lying again. Because you can't trust the dad and brother. You just can't. They lied so many times to Jirard that it's wild. So, who knows? We'll find out. Maybe.
Different potential benefits.
How long do you guys give it before Carl makes a video on this? How long do you give it? Mutahar. Okay. It's not Mutahar.
Factors. Since it was now up to me to get this money donated, I needed to stay on the board of directors for Open Hand, at least until the donation was officially made. It was around this point that I realized that I was in way over my head. I had just lost my job at G4, and finances were a complete mess all around for myself and my company. I was scrambling to get the Completionist restructured with new ideas and a new tone, and I was practically traveling or doing some work event almost every single week, almost the entire year. But everything was up in the air, and all of it was on me, all at once. And on top of all this was the news that I now had to fix a problem that had been unknowingly brewing for several years. However, even at this point, I couldn't just do whatever I wanted. And this is where the real conflict started. I tried my best to express how upset I was, how upset all of you would rightfully be, and that this could cost me and so many people who worked with me everything we had created and built together, and I was simply brushed aside. I had learned the hard way that the charity world moves at a glacial pace, and I've been going around touting all these organizations and all the good we'll be doing for many years, only for all of it to be a bunch of empty promises. Even after I stepped up, my best efforts to donate as fast as possible would never be good enough, as every decision I wanted to make now had to be approved by a long list of people on both the Open Hand side and the potential benefactors that I have been speaking with. So I feel that some context on my family might be helpful right here. I'm the youngest of 5 in a first-generation Lebanese immigrant household. My dad has always loomed large in every aspect of my life, and that absolutely extended to my own experiences with the Open Hand Foundation, and at times, even my own business. The expectations were that I should have been an engineer, or I should have been a lawyer. Instead, I'm a video producer who
At the end of
plays
the day,
video
you
games on
get
the
to
internet
determine
for a
your
living.
life, though, Jirard.
If you ever watched
Your
the
dad doesn't
Completionist
get
live
to.
show from a few years ago, then all of this should sound pretty familiar to you. I did not have the final call on any major decisions when it came to the Open Hand and its finances. I was one of many people in charge. To my family, I was seen as the video game guy, not the business guy or the charity guy.
Yeah, but I bet you were bringing in more
the
money than
outcomes
your dad and
were
brother
absolutely
combined.
my responsibility, because all of you at home donated your hard-earned money and time and did so with your trust in me in mind.
Jirard, you need to have confidence in yourself. You need to tell your dad to suck a dick because you make more money than him. I guarantee that you made more money than him in your time. You raised more money for the Open Hand Foundation than in a couple of years than he did in all of his years. You brought the foundation to the front. You did all that. You need to have the confidence to tell your dad to kiss it. I understand the idea of, hey, respect your elders and all that, but at the same time, your dad's being a piece of shit. If he thinks that he's better because of the fact he runs a golf course, I'm sorry, that's not engineering. That's not anything. It's good that he's a business owner as a first-generation immigrant, but you did more for the organization and have made more than him in your time than he has. And you're only 30-something?
So when I learned the truth, I made it my goal that no matter what happened, the money had
You
to
still
get
did
donated.
wrong, though,
There
by lying.
was no
Just
other
saying.
outcome
I'm
that
not
I would
gonna
allow.
glaze you.
And that's
You
what the real
fucked
nasty
up royally,
core to
dude.
all of this is. Nobody embezzled or touched any money. No crime was committed or covered up here. And the results of the Department of Justice's investigation will hopefully one day be proof of this.
I think that it's probably looking into the dad's side. I don't think Jirard took anything other than expenses for running Indieland. I don't think anything other than that happened. I think the dad was skimming all the donations that would have come through the golf thing. That's what I would be willing to bet. I think Jirard will come out clean out of this, but his dad might get arrested for fraud. Because if the dad took all the money from the golf thing, that's a huge amount of fraud. And he'll probably be in jail for it.
The decision
We'll
to
find
wait
out.
to donate until the foundation raised $1 million, along with the struggle of figuring out why that was necessary in the first place, should have absolutely been communicated with all of you.
Should have.
The Open Hand Foundation, and myself especially, should have been more transparent with its struggles and its goals, period. A week after Indieland 2023 had wrapped up, and before I could get back to the donation efforts and conversations I was having, My heart stopped when I saw an email to the Open Hand Foundation came from a one Carl Jobst. I'm very familiar with Carl's work, as he had been known at the time to be a groundbreaking creator that claimed to take down cheaters, liars, and scammers. And I knew what was coming next. A few days later, on November 10th, I received a message from another creator, Mudahar Anas, also known as Some Ordinary Gamers. I respected and trusted Mudahar, so when he asked if I wanted to hop on a Discord call to talk about a
Just wanted to run some of the public documents with you and get your side of the story, doing due diligence here. Like, I can only imagine his heart dropped into his stomach whenever he saw that message. And Jirard really should have gone into it and just been like, look, I'm just the face. I'm not the one that's doing the financials. He should have said that from the start and just been like, look, if this is something that you want to talk to someone about, you guys need to talk to the people that do actual accounting. I'm not involved in that. You know, that's what he should have done. He should have said it, and he should have said, I've been trying to get it done. Well, he did say he was trying to get it donated, but, you know, it's just one of those things.
Discrepancy with some of the Open Hand Foundation's publicly available documents, I agreed, thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe we could chat this out and clear the air. No problem. Mudahar never once asked about the laws or regulations that Carl had asked about, so I had no reason to think they were collaborating together, especially since they had no prior history together online. I hopped on the call, assuming that this would just be the two of us, until my surprise, I saw Carl join.
That is a little
The rest
dirty.
of what's publicly available to all of you is essentially me having a panic attack while trying to be transparent with two creators I respected at the time, all at the behest of throwing my friends and family under several buses. I saw the headlines coming, and I spiraled, losing control of everything. I did my best to reiterate my family's infighting, the struggles with finding a donor for a restricted donation, and that no matter what was going to happen, all the money was accounted for and ready to be donated. And they even acknowledged that there was no evidence of embezzlement and that it's not even what they were asking about. So it gave me some hope that this whole thing could be recovered in some way.
I'm keeping it to the charity and like the money and why it hasn't moved. I won't personally be mentioning anybody family related and the personal hell that you honestly have to go through. That's like a fucking no-no for me personally. On my end, and I'm sure on Carl's end, that's something that obviously I think we can abide by. That's just an ethics thing for any journalist, really. The very big silver lining is the money is there. According to every PP filing that I've seen, it can all be like done right. You know, this isn't a situation of actual embezzlement or, you know, money being moved to the fucking Cayman Islands or some cryptocurrency offshore. This is a situation that can be rectified for very positive stakes. But yeah,
I was terrified and I should have kept my mouth shut. But some part of me believed that if I was honest right from the get-go, maybe I could get out ahead of this and it could end up just being...
Whenever I listened to the Carl and Mudahar thing, I felt empathy for Jirard, because it definitely sounded like he was someone that screwed up by not saying, you know, the truth whenever he was running Indieland 2023 after he found out that it wasn't donated. That's his one screw up that he did. The rest I have definitely interpreted as his brother and his dad conning everyone, and then at the same time even shafting Jirard. Like, it's wild how bad it is. You know? So let's continue.
More of a cautionary situation for people to know. 3 days later, Monday, November the 13th, Mudahar and Carl released their videos, and the story was broken. It made donating even more important, but even more difficult due to the new online reputation of the Open Hand Foundation and myself. Many of these organizations we'd been speaking with suddenly wanted nothing to do with us, legally informing us to keep our distance, and the situation quickly became desperate.
Well,
Thankfully,
that
my
sucks.
brother and I were able to secure a meeting with AFTD the very next day. And by November 29th of 2023, the Association of Frontotemporal Dementia received $600,000 from the Open Hand Foundation. Soon after this donation was made, I resigned from my role on the board of directors, ending my relationship with my family's efforts in the Open Hand Foundation. The money that remained in the Open Hands account was intended to cover any future operating expenses or potential legal fees. That would prove to be important since the very next day on November 30th, we received a notice from the California Department of Justice that the Open Hand Foundation was now being
Oh, that explains a lot. It's the California Department of Justice. They're going to keep your shit open forever just to fuck with you.
investigated. All receipts were being sent
Never
over,
deal with California.
and for legal advice, everyone's mouths were
Run
to
by
be kept
idiots.
shut. The main priority for me was at the very least the $459,129.90 raised by Indieland donors would finally go to the original cause of dementia research in honor of my mother. At this point, my family and I were completely overwhelmed with the noise coming in, and as a result, we brought in several different professionals to help us determine how to even best respond to the ever-growing list of allegations. This is what finally led to my response on December 9th of 2023. All the information that I'm sharing with you right now and going to be sharing with you, this is what I wanted to say in that video. At the time, the Open Hands Foundation's legal counsel instructed me not to say or share anything because nobody knew what would be relevant to the pending investigation by the government. I was essentially handcuffed from telling the full story because our lawyers instructed me to not address any information potentially related to the ongoing investigation.
You didn't
which
have to
included
threaten a
receipts,
lawsuit against
potential
them, though.
evidence,
That was
and
the bad
even
part.
fully admitting to any and all of my mistakes. When this response video failed to inspire folks to trust and believe in me still, I knew that my support systems were going to go away very quickly. My financial, legal, and community support disappeared overnight, with a lot of my friendships, both personal and professional, going away with it as well. It was clear that I
feel
had
about
failed
that, but
and my options were extremely limited.
You really
Over the
needed
course of
to
the next 2 months, almost all the employees
point
at That
out
One
that it
Video
wasn't
Gamer
you.
were let go,
Like,
and I
immediately.
spent most of my time clearing out the now defunct old office. I decided to continue making content as a way just to keep the lights on despite my legal silence. But by the summer of 2024, I eventually stopped producing new content altogether. I would go on to disappear from the lives of practically everyone I knew because I thought that in my own self-hating isolation that that's what everyone wanted from me. But in reality, I ended up doing a lot more harm than good by letting everyone else deal with the public responses. And that was extremely selfish of me. Without being able to truly apologize and take 100% full accountability for the things that I was responsible for, it felt like no one wanted to ever hear from me, let alone trust me ever again. To my moderators, my biggest fans that have rolled with me since day one, and especially to anyone who ever donated to Indieland in any way, shape, or form. So many of you trusted me, my words, and my reputation in what I stood for. I know a lot of you have left this community, are hurt and feel betrayed, and were even threatened or harassed by people online just for saying that you still believed in me. I put all of you in an unbelievably difficult situation, and for that, I am deeply sorry. To my past employees, I am so sorry that you've had to endure the sudden hardship of needing to find new employment with a resume that had my name and company insignia on it. You trusted me to manage That One Video Gamer and everything related to our brand in a way that would keep us going for the next decade. All of you gave me your blood, sweat, and tears, and some of you for the full 13
It
years
is good
of
that
our
he's apologizing
existence.
to the people.
I am forever grateful for all of you, and I am so sorry that this ended up becoming the worst possible scenario for all of us. To
Yep.
Fraser Perez Don, Patrick Stingline, and Michael Barity. You've always been my best friends. Your relentless support has always meant the world to me. Indieland and so much of TOVG's ambition and drive was from the three of you and your dreams. You dreamed as big as I did, if not bigger, and contributed to our success. I will always be in your debt, and my heart is so heavy for how this ruined your lives and the lives of your fellow employees. I will find a way somehow, someday, to reconcile and seek redemption with all of you, if you will allow me to. I want to especially apologize to the Super Beard Brothers, the Scary Game Squad, the Friends Per Second podcast, and all of the guests and indie game developers that appeared at Indieland for the long road of chaos they had to endure and will continue to endure because of all of this. I don't expect forgiveness from anyone who watches this, but I do want all of you to know that I am doing everything in my power to make it right. And on that note, I do want to talk a little bit about the progress update on AFTD's fight against dementia and how all the money you all donated is helping real people today. In July of 2024, AFTD sent OpenHand a report of what our contribution was going towards in compliance with the terms of the restricted donation previously negotiated upon. And I'll have that full report in the box down below, but I do want to touch on a few things that I'm very excited about. First off, when we negotiated our donation with AFTD, an outside party matched another $200,000 to our donation through one of AFTD's matching programs. So the total at the end of the day was actually $800,000 that went to dementia research, education, and care. This money was distributed through a wide variety of grants.
I guarantee Carl was going to try to find out what the other organization
both chemical
was.
And social questions
I guarantee
dementia, FTD, and all related disorders. Alongside this, one specific grant was awarded to the Respite Care Financial Assistance Program. Now, this helps to alleviate the financial burden of those diagnosed with FTD via direct cash grants for victims and their families.
That's good.
At the end of June of 2024, AFTD distributed 753 grants as a part of this program.
That's awesome.
That means there's 753 individual families who receive direct assistance hiring professional caregivers, enrolling in care programs,
fantastic.
And purchasing
I love
supplies like shoes, clothes, and technology, and so much more. Now, this is a very detailed report with a ton of scientific terminology, but if you ever donated to Indieland over the years, then this report is for you. It's your money helping these families through both new research and relief funding, and it is making an actual genuine difference to so many people. For whatever it's still worth, I want to genuinely thank each and every one of you who donated over the years. Thank you so much for your compassion and generosity, sincerely. On top of all of this, the Open Hand Foundation has committed to donate to AFTD for many years to come, as long as they have money to operate with $50,000 already having been contributed this year alone. Given that this amount was so much smaller than the last donation, they asked to not have any big press releases around this time. Even though I'm not a part of the Open Hand anymore, it makes me so happy to know that the foundation is continuing to donate and hopefully start to rebuild some of the trust. Donors.
I mean, they know that they have to donate now.
If you donated to Indieland, your money went to charity and only charity. That was the promise, that was the goal, and we got there. I want to reiterate that at the end of the day, I was not trying to use or abuse my power as an influencer, and the intent was always to raise money.
I legitimately don't think Jirard was trying to
scam
scam people. I think that he was being really foolish in continuing to lie that it was donated, but I don't think he wanted to use it.
I do not think that I have gotten over the hardships and the trauma that I've experienced in my life with her and her illness. She always taught me to do good, and I was trying to live through her to do good, and I'm still trying to do good to this day. You, as a viewer, deserve the facts, and especially the truth. That's why I want to clarify as many of the allegations against me as I can that are absolutely false. First, I want to address the idea that the Open Hand could quickly just donate the money the same way you can just click donate on a charity website or Venmo or PayPal a friend.
Almost everyone is screaming at them just to donate the money, which should be pretty easy to do.
One thing you'll see is they'll ask me to gift an amount that is as low as $35.
The short answer is no. If we wrote a check to a charity with no agreements on how that money gets spent or how it's tracked, we would never have received a report detailing how our donors' money was being put to use. It would likely have gone to funding administrative costs like accounting fees and executive salaries. It had to be restricted to make sure that it actually went to dementia research. And negotiating with many of these organizations is really tough when you aren't donating tens of millions of dollars. To us, $600,000 was an astronomical amount of money, especially for me and my community. But in the charity world, that's small potatoes. There's a ton more to this whole thing, but that's about the best explanation that I can personally provide, because I am not a 501c3 lawyer or accountant. This stuff is unbelievably complex, and it takes time to get it right. Simply put, it was functionally impossible for us to just donate the money in a website's donate button section while being responsible to the people who donated to us and the cause that we represent.
I felt like it was going to be more complicated than what they said, but I did think that at the same time, it wasn't as complex as Jirard and his folks make it seem. You know, it was somewhere in the middle, you know? I feel like they could have, prior to the big stink, done all this, you know? And in all honesty, if I was in Mudahar and Carl's position, and I had this discussion with Jirard, I'd have probably said, look, our concern is that you guys are fleecing everyone for their money. We will sit on this story for 1 month. 1 month. You have a month to get this properly donated, or else we're blowing the whistle. And then if they failed for the full month, then it would have been, all right, well, now we get to tell everyone that you guys are fleecing them for all their stuff. So, yeah, that's that. Outside of that, I would have given them the chance to do the right thing prior to actually releasing the information. That's what I would have done, because, I mean, it's one thing. I mean, like I said, my suspicion is that the dad is the major culprit of this. Maybe the dad and Jacques. But it's still like Jirard's caught up in the crossfire even when his dad is being selfish, or his brother is being selfish. It's just one of those things that being fair about it to Jirard specifically is something that I would have wanted to do. I would have wanted Jirard to get a fair shake, because I would have had that feeling myself of like, I feel for you. I feel for the company you made. I know that you're just putting on a show. I feel like you should have been up front with taking out things that were for the cost of the event, or once you found out the truth that your brother and dad hadn't donated it, then you should have been up front and said, I don't have X, you know? But with that, you know, I would have given him a chance.
That obviously does not excuse
because
the fact
them releasing
that it took
that
far
stuff
too long to donate.
made the
But
name
hopefully
dirty,
this at least
which made it
explains
even
why,
harder
once
to donate.
you find a benefactor, it's still a very tedious process. Next, I want to talk about Twitch bits and Twitch subscriptions. If you don't know how bits and subs work, viewers can donate money in the form of Twitch bits, as well as subscribe to a Twitch streamer for perks like emotes and private streams.
Emotes.
This money then gets split with Twitch, and the remaining balance then comes to the Twitch streamer at the end of the month. During the weeks of Indieland, all bits and subs that we received on the channel were put towards the donation goal throughout the event. I'm sure many of you have seen a lot of clips and memes at this point over the years where I have said we don't touch any bits or subs. Technically speaking, I do have to interact with them because I have to claim the income that comes to me and my company, and any money that Twitch pays out is income regardless of where it will end up going later on. However, either myself or my brother, sometimes referencing a meme name during the stream, referencing something that was taking place at the time in the stream, would donate various amounts of money that match what we had received from Twitch viewers in real time up to that point, directly to our Tiltify page. That way, the on-screen totals would match, and no amount would ever get forgotten. If there was any discrepancy at the time, we made sure to donate extra to ensure accuracy, and sometimes that happened a few days after Indieland had wrapped up.
Okay.
We worked hard to figure this process out, as early on we didn't have everything locked in, but by the time we were done, that was our process. No matter what though, dollar for dollar, everything did go to charity. For full transparency, on screen right now you can see our revenue for Twitch bits and subs for every year of Indieland, and the document containing this data will be available for you down below.
I'm gonna look at it real quick. Okay. 10,000, basically 11,000, 99,000, 110,000. That lines up. That lines up. Yeah, all these are lining up. Assuming that they're true, assuming that they're real, which whenever he reveals the DOJ results, that should confirm all these numbers.
$459,129.
I gotta say, raising almost $500,000 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years is really good. 2019 was their best year, but, you know.
And 90 cents was contributed to the open hand by the fundraising efforts of That One Video Gamer, The Completionist, and Indieland. All of the money raised for Indieland went directly towards that sum, and absolutely none of it was used for either expenses or personal use. This can be corroborated by both our Twitch earnings and our unclaimed expenses year on year. The process of receiving and tracking Twitch bits and subs was a tedious extra layer to Indieland's operations, which is why we encourage viewers eventually over the years to donate directly to the Tiltified campaign instead. That way, donor money was going directly to the open hand, and I don't need to be the middleman at all in this situation. While we're talking expenses, let's address the claim that I used Indieland as a way to earn money from claimed expenses and gain clout from running a prestigious event with big-name celebrities and respected creators.
Of everyone in the entire...
He does get clout, but I do think that it's quite unfair at the same time. Like, you can't contribute to malice that which can be explained by stupidity. In this case, you can't contribute to malice that which is just, like, someone being a good person. You can get notoriety for being a good person. You don't have to have the goal of getting the notoriety by being a good person.
Our world who benefits from Indieland, it's Jirard who benefits the most. He gets the Twitch followers, he gets the media attention, he gets to mingle with game developers and
what I care about is that the money was donated. If the money was donated,
as it grew,
cool.
Indieland became increasingly more expensive to produce. Most of all in 2022, we made it an attendable live show like we had promised our viewers in 2019. That One Video Gamer shouldered all expenses. That was my contribution to the cause. The general rule of thumb is that a non-profit charity should only spend around 25% of its income on expenses. And according to the BBB Wise Giving Alliance, 35% is the max amount to be considered a credible charity. The Open Hands operating costs, on average, were only 11.85% during the years that Indieland was being run. We achieved this because Indieland had no...
Yeah, look at this difference. Before Indieland, almost 30% of their money that was coming in from the golf stuff and all that was being used on expenses. And it dropped only because Jirard brought in so much money. So this is telling me exactly what I was saying. The dad and the brother were not running a good charity. They were running a charity. Yeah. But it's above the expected percent, and it was getting relatively close to the level that it's no longer considered a credible charity, which I don't know what their expenses were. Honestly, if it's just the dad and the brother, I am someone who has run several LLCs. If you aren't having salaries for employees, that should be the expense of your website and or taxes, and that's it. That's all it should be. But if you're a charity and you file the paperwork with the IRS, you don't have taxes. So that would take taxes out of it. This is telling me the dad and the brother were taking money. The dad and the brother were still taking money even after Jirard. But money was being taken at a rate that should not have been taken. Period.
During the years that Indieland was being run.
And I'm suspecting it's the dad and the brother.
We achieved this because Indieland had no claimed expenses to maximize donor contributions, and more importantly, it was a passion project for our team. This was our idea. This was our vision. This was our dream. In the now leaked Discord interview conducted by Carl and Mudahar, I had previously mentioned that some expenses were recouped by my company via Twitch revenue or reimbursements from the foundation. It actually turns out that I was wrong. No expenses were ever claimed by my company, either through OpenHand or through the Twitch revenue. Between travel expenses for guests, venue costs for 2022, food and drinks, and all sorts of other extras, that one video gamer spent approximately $88,000 running IndieLand across all 6 years.
Again,
this also doesn't include the tax
DOJ
burden.
is gonna give their report, but if what Jirard just said is true, good on Jirard. And he should have, whenever they were talking to him, he should have said, "Hey, let me look into this and get you guys an answer, okay?" And then he could have gotten the answer of, did we ever get recouped costs from any of this? And his accountants would have said, no, you never recouped any costs. And then he could have told them that, because that was a big sticking point for a lot of people, was that he actually recouped costs.
That one video gamer took on by processing Twitch bits and subscriptions, plus the man hours dedicated to preparing for and running these events. That's hundreds of hours from 5 full-time employees being paid to put this event on together year after year. In short, we spent tens of thousands of dollars of my company's own money to run a charity that we did not get paid for, not for clout, but because we cared. Many employees volunteered additional time to make IndieLand happen, and I did not make this mandatory for their duties. We were all building this thing together. This event belonged to the staff who put it together, and they did it because they wanted to. They cared immensely about both indie games and victims of dementia. I am insanely proud of my team, and we only succeeded as much as we did because of their unbelievable dedication. I was the face, yes, and I did have final say, but this was our baby, not just mine. I am so proud of the showrunners, producers,
That's where it's kind of a shame
editors,
that,
and coordinators
that everything
who
got
actually achieved
squashed
these goals
because of this.
that they set for themselves. As a final note, I want to add that many online have noticed that the Open Hand Foundation has entered into a delinquency status with the IRS. Carl Jobst has run with this, saying that this is further proof that Open Hand did not comply with the law. In reality, the Open Hand's legal counsel was instructed by the Department of Justice to withhold their tax filings until the investigation was concluded. This delinquency status is the charity equivalent of an unpaid parking ticket and gets cleared whenever Open Hand files a specific form, which they've already taken care of. As a result, this delinquency status has been corrected and is actually explicit proof that my family and I fully complied with the investigation and truly have nothing to hide. Now, I wish I could end the video right here and move on and not acknowledge my detractors beyond easily debunked numbers and misunderstood compliance laws. Unfortunately, Carl and Mudahar have made themselves impossible to ignore. They have inserted themselves into my story, whether I like it or not. Both of them have perpetuated and publicized numerous conspiracy theories about myself and my family online, and this has led to irreparable harm to not just myself, but everyone associated with my family, including personal information being leaked.
I do want to say, with all this, you shouldn't be blindly defending Jirard, and you shouldn't be blindly condemning Jirard. There should be balance, and there should be honest dialogue, period.
Stalking, public harassment, and so much more. It doesn't matter that these guys never explicitly said they believe some of this stuff, nor do they verbally condone bad faith attacks. They discussed and entertained several conspiracies that directly hurt people who had nothing to do with any of this at all.
There is a old journalistic value that was not wanting to put out things that could harm people without at least good reason or good verifying sources. So Carl should never refer to himself as a journalist, because this is one thing, like, everything is a both ways, it's in the gray, it's all that, but a conspiracy theory should be reported as a theory and should not be entertained as fact unless you can verify it. Unless it's not going to harm anyone. If it's some random conspiracy theory, like, I'm going to say the Earth is flat as a conspiracy theory. because it doesn't have any specific person that it would harm, even though it may not specifically apply to scenarios like this. But, you know, it is what it is.
The conspiracy claims was that my family donated personal funds to cover up the fact that we secretly stole all of the donor money. Both Mudahar and Carl discussed this as not only a legitimate possibility, but as a likely reality, despite the fact that no hard evidence of embezzlement has ever existed.
Yeah, and that's
One of
something
the
that should
actual
not happen.
conspiracies for this is, one user writes, they just needed a few weeks to secure a loan or liquidate assets to come up with the money to do this. If this conspiracy theory is true and the California DOJ or the IRS are investigating, that's going to draw some serious eyeballs over to them. So if that money is there, just prove it exists. I get it. You're behind lawyers and PR agencies.
If this was actually true, the DOJ would have caught it instantly and acted accordingly. 501c3 charities in California
caught
are
immediately.
extremely
He's not wrong about
strict and are under much tighter supervision
but at
than
the same
most
time,
other states.
Mudahar is speaking from a point there of, we don't know, the DOJ is going to look into it or the IRS is going to look into it, and they'll be able to see it if it happened.
In the U.S.
So that one
And even
kind of
more
sounds like
outrageous
Mudahar
conspiracy
is
tries to allege that my dad
he entertained it, but he definitely put the if that's actually the case, it's going to get caught very quickly. So that one's not the worst.
poisoned my mom in order to not.
That's a disgusting accusation with that, though. That's a pretty disgusting type of conspiracy theory, that poisoning his mom.
Just worsen her condition, but maybe even cause her diagnosis in the first place. These were particularly nasty conspiracies that I wanted to address in my initial response video from December of 2020.
Time out. Then came back and wanted to divorce his dad's, and his dad said, no, I won't let you unless you see a doctor, because the only reason you'd want to divorce is if you've got a medical problem. Made her do tests for years until they diagnosed her with dementia.
Really nasty conspiracies that I wanted to address in my initial response video from December of 2023, where I shared my mom's autopsy report to prove that yes, she did live and die with frontotemporal dementia. Some people were a little confused about this and were extremely upset that I used my mom's death certificate in that way that I did. But seeing...
So that's why he did that. I never even heard that conspiracy theory that his family was poisoning his mom. I never even heard that. That's pretty gross. And the fact Carl went along with it makes Carl more gross to me.
All these accusations that were swirling around me.
The mods keep scrubbing this as a conspiracy theory because it's a conspiracy theory. There was nothing that was showing that she didn't have it.
Even
You literally have no evidence. The conspiracy theory has no basis.
Truth of my mom's disorder was now officially being questioned. Now there's one more thing that I want to get ahead of here. Just a couple of years before my mom passed away, my dad started dating his now current wife while still being married to my mom. When you're committed to caring for someone with dementia for over a decade, life gets extremely complicated.
I can see
My
that.
mom was at least 10 years...
As someone who has had someone with dementia around, they're basically not even them. It's basically like a corpse walking and breathing and eating. So I could see knowing your wife is going to die being something that you need to, like, you're disconnected. You're not intimate with each other anymore. You're not talking to each other anymore. You are taking care of basically a child. And it makes sense to potentially fall in love with someone if you're that type. You know, there's certain people that will go to their own grave after their spouse dies without dating again. But with that, you know, it does make sense.
And she was barely communicative at this point. My dad somehow found love at his senior age with an amazing woman who would go on to help our family take care of my mom well into her final days. I should not have to explain what I feel is no one's business but my family's. Unfortunately, there's Discord receipts of Carl stating that this was the last bit of family stuff.
That's what he was holding. Carl, go fuck yourself. Oh my gosh, dude. The last family stuff was that his dad was dating the other woman for 2 years? Carl has clearly never, ever had to caregive a dementia person, whether it's a dude or a chick, because
That he was holding
it's
back,
not like the
presumably
person.
until I decided to respond again, repeatedly referring to my stepmom as a mistress in my dad's supposed affair.
Carl's
Considering
disgusting
he
to me
used
now.
this exact tactic against Billy Mitchell.
That's why he didn't. Carl has lost all credibility to me after this. The Billy Mitchell thing, he lied and misinformed his followers for a year plus, and then he has the audacity to come after Jirard for the one time in 2023 that at Indieland he said that they were partners with certain areas. Are you shitting me, dude? You are a giant fucking hypocrite. Go fuck yourself, Carl. I was a big follower of this whole thing because I thought Jirard's family was doing disgusting shit, and I wanted to hear, I checked every video because I wanted to hear what the additional stuff about the dad was. To find out it's because the dad, after the mom has extensive dementia, had the audacity of dating another woman when his wife was close to death. I wouldn't do it, but I understand it, and it's not anything to fucking do with the Open Hand Foundation. Yeah, she ended up becoming a board member because he was in love with her, dating her, and marrying her. That's why. Fucking jeez, Carl.
Accusing his current wife of being nothing but a mistress in Billy's alleged affair. I have no doubt in my mind that Carl would and might still...
Carl has a serious issue if so I'm curious now if this is what Jirard was specifically saying would be a lawsuit thing. I'm curious now because I would understand this being a defamation lawsuit because it's indicating or putting out there that she is not someone to be trusted with the organization, even if she is someone to be trusted with the organization.
Try and use this against me in the future.
The very next week, he applied to marry his mistress of many years. So that's why Billy lies about his marriage, because the truth is that he had his children out of wedlock to a mistress, and that just doesn't sound quite as wholesome.
Myself...
Billy's disgusting for all the lies he's told, but you don't tell lies to counter people that are lying. The truth sets everyone free. That is always going to be my policy, and any of y'all that are listening to Grandpa need to take that to heart.
and my family have long accepted and love who my dad married after my mom passed away. It doesn't matter how much Carl tries to twist the truth here.
Then came back and wanted a divorce from mom. They set up a golf tournament, but the marriage was basically a facade. Oh shit. Because his dad was with another woman before the wife died. So Carl's just
There
out
is no
saying the
grand
stuff anyways.
conspiracy here. The truth is that, despite what they claim, Mudahar and Carl are not journalists, accountants, lawyers,
So,
or even engineers. They're YouTubers, just like me.
okay. So, I agree on the part of they're not journalists. They clearly did not follow any journalistic integrities on this. They didn't get sources that could confirm things. They did go through Jirard, and Jirard was very open on his part. And that's what they used to crucify him. So I definitely feel empathy for Jirard on this. But they went with random conspiracy theories at points. They did other things that are very, very unjournalistic. Very unjournalistic. And that's disgusting to me. It just is. It's disgusting to me. They shouldn't be doing that. Not if you want to call yourself a journalist. I want indie journalism, but they did the opposite when they did that. Yeah, we'll see where this goes next, but I do think that Jirard's wrong on the fact you don't have to be an accountant, you don't have to be a lawyer, you don't have to be these things to give your personal view on things. But journalists are supposed to present facts, and they can put their opinion in, but they need to have facts supporting it, and they need to follow the facts. If they don't do that, You can't call yourself a freaking journalist.
That's why they never issued any corrections to this story, despite numerous allegations being thoroughly disproven even before my own response video came out. Corrections and questions are entertained as possible, but at no point did either of these two admit that they were wrong about anything they incorrectly cited. The 5% rule for
feel like
charities
Carl's
every
worse
single
than
year,
Mudahar.
open hands filing status, expenses and contribution totals, or even my own words. These were all things that I tried to address in my response video, and others online had corrected them as well. There were a number of laws, requirements, and so much more that both Carl and Mudahar cited incorrectly, with no corrections to this very day.
They
Let's
should.
take a step
That's
back real
gonna.
quick. Mudahar's
That's
first
gonna
video
open them up to
released on
lawsuits.
November 13th. His next upload responding to online criticisms was on November 20th. His third video was on December the 2nd. And a fourth video was then released on December 7th, this time to talk about our donation to AFTD. Each and every video, Mudahar told his viewers that the open hand needed to be reported for an audit if you, the viewer, wanted anything to change.
Looking at their golf tournament, looking at a bunch of other places, there is, at least in my opinion, income or revenue that should be reassessed by an auditing body.
I agree with the idea that they needed to be audited. I agree with that because it seems like money disappeared because the dad's side seemed to just evaporate after Indyland started. But with that, it should be an audit, and that's it. You shouldn't be saying they did do this. You should be saying it appears that this could be the case. We should request an audit.
That is
There's a difference.
until December 9th when I released my response video. In my video, I said that we welcomed an audit, responding to the claim that we were somehow afraid that an investigation might happen, exposing the books and everything up to everyone.
What they don't want is people, especially the authorities, looking.
The golf tournament is the biggest thing that I'm curious about. But you can't use them saying, we welcome an audit, to say that it's them trying to avoid responsibility. That's literally the opposite.
into the golf tournament and all of that sponsorship money.
But if you have the money, I don't think it's illogical to show that you have the money and you are willing to donate it. Unless, of course, even if possessing the money after all of this, there are still some serious legal repercussions.
Instead of admitting that, hey, maybe he might have gone too far, Mudahar doubled down, saying that a criminal investigation by the government suddenly doesn't disprove his accusations that we broke the law.
Now, the audit was never the smoking gun during this video, and you might be like, whoa, what are you talking about, Muda?
This is the exact investigation that Mudahar instructed his viewers would deliver justice if they followed his instructions.
Do you want justice to be delivered? So I'm going to teach you guys how to report this properly. Now, obviously, if you want any agency to look into this, check the state of California.
As for Carl, he actually acknowledges that he doesn't correctly cite any of the laws that I supposedly broke.
I couldn't give two shits if any of that is illegal or illegal. It would not affect my own moral judgments because I don't base my morals on whether or not a court convicts someone of a crime.
However, instead of admitting that he got anything wrong in his videos, Carl conveniently says that he is not a journalist, he's just making entertainment.
The purpose of a
I swear I've heard Carl call himself a journalist. I swear I've heard him say it.
YouTube video is first and foremost to entertain, because if a video isn't easy to understand or entertaining, people won't watch it and I will get less money.
Accusations of criminal wrongdoing and inexcusable moral character are now a form.
So here's the thing. Jirard fucked up. He did moral bankrupt things with the whole lying about it being partnered with organizations and this and that. He did that. He lied about that. He's now admitted that it was wrong a couple of times. Carl is doing this snake in the grass bullshit of going, I've never said I'm a journalist. I never claimed I was doing this for the betterment of charity. Like, dude, you are doing the most snaky things. It's always projection with people, isn't it? Why are people always about projecting so much? The people that call out liars seem to be the ones that lie the most. What is with this? Like, I don't understand. I've never put myself on any moral high ground. Yes, you did. Your entire video was dripping with moral superiority on everything. Like, what are you talking? And look at this. He's deflecting. Isn't it convenient that those who have a problem with how I call out charity fraud are also liars themselves? I'm not a fucking liar, and I'm calling out how you called it out. You misled me into thinking that there was more stuff that actually fucking contributed to charity fraud about the dad. I don't think Jirard... This is mind-blowing now that I'm getting to actually see things. I know Carl is going to fucking come out with something in a week, and him and Mudahar are going to enjoy the fact that they're doing this, but for fuck's sake. You lied about Billy's whole situation, and that lost a lot of respect from me. And then he's lied about a couple of other things. And I'm just like, this guy can't give anyone any benefit of the doubt. None of it. He wants to condemn everyone for even the slightest fuck up while saying, I never claimed these things, so you can't hold me to any sort of standard. Scummy piece of shit.
Of entertainment.
Oh my gosh,
it should
dude.
not be taken as fact.
Verify
despite
your
the fact
independent
that
medias.
Carl cites himself constantly as an investigative journalist, both in his GoFundMe
Hey, look at that. I knew it.
campaigns, on the record in the courtroom in several different cases, and even
Oh, he said it in court. You are fucked, dude. If they now took you to court, that would be admissible in court. And you have now... Oh, yeah.
in
I
one
knew
of his
I'd
most
heard it.
recent
I
videos.
knew it.
My channel and my investigative work improved dramatically after I got sued.
Despite the best efforts that I put in my initial response video, I was never
Oh my
going
gosh.
to win, no matter what I said. The money got donated, but that was never the true goal. For Carl and Mudahar to succeed, I had to be irredeemable.
That comment sounds more like he's targeting Jirard specifically. He's fucked after my vid. Totally fucked. That puts... Oh my gosh. Is this guy a absolute retard? Is he? Because that now... Oh, that means he's showing intent and he's showing damages. So now if Jirard and his family do any sort of defamation, they can prove he knew that he was causing damages.
True goal.
And while the family may not have the ability to justify damages, Jirard does.
For Carl and Mudahar to succeed, I had to be irredeemable, and nothing I could have legally provided at the time would have been enough.
Which I will once again prove in this video that you cannot take Jirard at his word. He is proven to be somebody that is deceptive.
It was my 16-minute video under the scrutiny of countless legal professionals versus their 8+ hours of sponsored conspiracy-based attacks. So,
Yeah, that's pretty
as
gross.
a recap, yes, I did lie about where the donations were going, knowingly so after Indieland 2022. I tried to take responsibility privately by making sure that the money got donated appropriately, hoping that I could minimize the damage this might do to everyone in my life, keeping this a secret to prevent anyone else from being complicit. In reality, continuing to hide this throughout 2023 only made everything worse, because now I was still directly complicit. There was always going to be hell to pay, and I was just being stupid about all of this. I should have just partnered with the organization directly, made things right from the beginning, and not cared about restricted donations or where the money was going. I also should not have gone ahead with Indieland in 2023. The show had taken a life of its own because it finally was receiving the notoriety for all of our team's hard work, and I did not want to hurt or betray everyone that put their blood, sweat, and tears into the show. This was just as important to indie games as it was to charity, and that added a ton of expectations and pressure. In the end, I made a choice that cost my team their employment and ruined their lives, not to mention all the residual flack of every indie developer that they received.
Was it a perfect decision? No, absolutely not. Could you have foreseen that happening? No. I don't think you could have foreseen Carl Mudahar getting a hold of this and using it to nail your guys' group to a cross. That's my personal opinion. So,
Deceived just because of their association to me. It was short-sighted and dishonest. I should have come clean as soon as I learned about it and separated myself and the event from my family immediately.
correct. He should have separated it from everything. He should have openly said, "Hey, this is happening. We don't have a partner for this year's." He could have just simply said, "We don't have a partner right now for where this is going to, but it's hopefully going to be one of these groups again, or one of these groups." He could have refined his wording, changed it up, and been honest with what his knowledge base was, because he didn't know before. You cannot hold him liable for what he didn't know about. That's my view, at least. So, we'll see.
With all that being said, though, what I did not do was steal, embezzle, or otherwise misappropriate donor funds for anything. Every cent of money donated was always there, waiting to find a benefactor. Any claims of theft, embezzlement, or fraud are...
Whenever I heard the original ones from Carl, back before I was doing this, I had the thought of, oh, the biggest thing Jirard did wrong was he said that his all of it was going to the charity whenever he was actually recouping costs. You even heard me earlier in this video say that all he had to do was say that they were going to recoup their costs and people would have understood. To find out that legitimately everything was paid for those events by that one video gamer, that's a huge thing. And then Carl took it even further with the whole, I can't remember the specifics of the lawsuit between that one video gamer and the roleplay server for Grand Theft Auto 5. But it's like he just wanted to, it's like the text that were just shown a minute ago. He wanted Jirard to be unrecoverable. It's like a fucking pot of crabs. I swear. Jirard did not do everything right at all. Jirard, he screwed up for sure. Big time. But you can criticize honestly and openly without having this kind of ill will in it. Like, looking back at everything now, it looks really bad for Carl. He was found guilty of the stuff, well, not found guilty. He was found liable for the stuff that he said about Billy. He's doing similar things to Jirard. The fact that he indicated or tried to indicate that the dad had additional stuff that was wrong with him, he was clearly trying to make people infer that the dad had done previous or shady money things. And instead it was the mom dating, or the stepmom dating. That's gross to me. It's gross to me. I'm someone that feels like you should be as honest as possible. The deception and the lies is not cool to me. And it sucks because from the start, whenever I was talking to my wife or friends with Jirard at the start, I was like, he did 90% of it right, and then he screwed up. He screwed up by saying X. He screwed up by saying, but I'm going to come after you guys if you don't knock it off. The threats of the legal stuff was the only thing that I had a huge issue with his post a year ago. So, seeing the additional stuff, I'm like, that might be what the legal threat was about. I don't know.
Categorically false. I also want to apologize to Carl the Mudahar. Despite my criticisms, I know what it's like to have your entire life scrutinized by tens of thousands of strangers who just want to see you fail. And no,
I don't want to see anyone fail. I want to see truth prevail. That's my view of it. If you can tell the truth and not lie and not deceive through omission, I'm with you. I don't want you to fail. Whether you are with me or against me, whether you are on my side or not on my side, I want truth to be the key driving factor in all of us, both in a community of viewers and in a community of creators. I want truth to be the driving factor.
Nobody deserves that. I know you both wanted this money donated, and you didn't deserve to get blown off just because people liked me. But I'm not interested in fighting some eternal YouTube drama conflict. I just want to come clean, and this is genuinely the soonest I was able to do so. So if you're really interested in understanding whether Carl and Mudahar conducted a responsible and educated investigation, there's a great YouTube video out there by a YouTube channel called Accounting in YouTube that breaks down the entire thing. And it's made by actual CPAs who looked at everything that Carl and Mudahar looked at. If this is where my work in charity ends, then so be it. I have participated in...
Like I said to friends as well, I think that him being like, I'm done with charity, I'm not doing it ever again, is too much. I think that he should have specifically indicated this is the charity that we're all donating to this time, like how people do with St. Jude's and things like that. It's a direct donation in the name of X. Because I'm pretty sure, at least for things like St. Jude, you can say we're running a charity event, this much is happening, and then it goes into their books under that name.
Dozens of public fundraising events over the years that have nothing to do with the Open Hand Foundation or my family for that matter. And the reason has always been the same each and every single time. Real people need as much help as they can get when faced with life-changing disorders like dementia. I've experienced this whole thing firsthand from the age of 10. It is one of the hardest things I've ever had to endure, and I never want a 10-year-old
to see their mother with dementia.
I just wanted to raise money for
charity. Watching my great-grandmother struggle with dementia as a teenager was hard. I can only imagine it being your mom.
As much as I could, because it's always elevated me. So, where do we go from here? Even if I somehow recover from this controversy, things can never be the same as they once were. Does that mean the Completionist, the show, my channel, my livelihood? Is it all just dead? No. Hell no. I still complete games. I actually never stopped completing games. Even through the entirety of last year, I completed well over a dozen games just because I wanted to. At the end of the day, I still love making videos. I am not a drama YouTuber or anything like that. I play games and just want to make videos about the things that I'm passionate about. My life is fundamentally different these days. My friend group has completely shifted. My family dynamics are very, very different. And the image that you all had of me is shattered. And maybe that's all okay. Maybe it's not okay. Maybe it doesn't need to be okay. But this is a new beginning for me.
I will say this, as I will say it a million times during the progress of this channel. You do not have to be perfect for me to like you. You're perfect as you are, even with your flaws. You don't need to change anything about you unless you're violent. If you're violent, you need to change things. But I'm talking to the general masses with this one. If you don't think your neighbor is evil, if you don't want to hurt other people, nothing needs to change about you. And I mean that, I'm a Christian. I mean this about whether you are Christian or Muslim or atheist or Jewish or Hindu. I don't care what your religion is. I don't. Do I wish that everyone came to Christ and all that? Yes, but I don't care about it for the point of being friends with you and caring about you. I have, like 90% of my friends are atheist. I still want them to have the best and to grow and to be loved and to love and to have kids and to do all this stuff. I still want that. I have multiple gay friends that I've been invited to their weddings. That's how close I am with them. Even if I don't agree with the lifestyle, they're good people. And good people knows no religion, knows no sexual orientation, knows no gender or race. So I don't expect Jirard to be perfect. I don't. I'm going to talk more about this in just a second. There's only 2 minutes left. I'm going to let it finish.
Me, the Completionist, and hopefully all of you at home who've supported me, should you choose to continue to roll with me. From now on, this is my story to tell, and if you're here for it, I cannot wait to make entirely new kinds of videos that will make you laugh and hopefully make you think. Going forward, you're going to be seeing a lot of me more streaming on Twitch, and hopefully weekly videos will return again soon. But it's going to feel very different. I don't have my company or my team anymore. It's just me once again, by myself. Before I end this video, I want to talk to a few people specifically. To Alex Faciani and Kelly Whistler. You two have been in my corner for years, supporting me through the insanity that's been TOVG. I am honored and humbled to know the both of you, and I am so deeply sorry for all the pain that I've caused the two of you, even to this day. To my family, but more specifically to my brother Jacques. No matter what happens in life, we will always be family. We will always be brothers. We will, whether we like it or not, be there for each other through thick and thin.
Ooh.
I know this has been hard on both of us and our relationship.
Yep.
And this whole video won't fix that. But hopefully it's a step in the right direction, and I hope that things go back to the way they once were someday.
Oh,
this
boy.
is a new me, a new adventure, a new chapter. I learned a lot of hard lessons these last few years.
Oh.
This new road ahead of me will undoubtedly be filled with new highs, new lows, different pains, different sorrows, new battles, and hopefully not new or more enemies, but more importantly, more mistakes. I am only human, and I want to try and do right by each and every one of you who has ever supported me. I hope I can earn your trust and make you all proud of me once more. So with that said, till next time, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all again soon for another brand new episode of The Completionist.
I am so happy I finished those last 2 minutes. Jacques is... Okay, so let me give you guys some interpretation in case you don't have a brother, or in case you don't have points that you get into big fights with your family. I've had a big fight with my brother. He's a stubborn, thick-headed motherfucker. But he's my brother. That statement that he gave to Jacques, we will always be brothers, we'll be there for each other, means that Jacques is upset with him because he told Jacques off. That's exactly the same thing my brother has done with me, and I've still said, we are brothers. We are family. You should not throw away family. We should still be there for each other, even if we completely disagree on a bunch of things. Jacques is the problem. Maybe even more than the dad. I'm not sure. But that's what I'm reading between the lines. But here's the thing I was going to say. Jirard... So after the whole thing, I didn't feel right watching Jirard's videos on The Completionist because it just felt dirty. It felt dirty because everything I knew really was from one side. Mudahar and Carl released their side, and Jirard clearly was advised, don't release anything from your side other than this one short video. And then it rounded off with the only thing that was really bad about that video was the final part where he was saying, we will sue you guys and proceed legal action if you don't knock it off. That sounds like trying to strong arm. But if this is trying to, or if this was him saying that in a threat of them trying to insinuate that the mother-in-law is, or not mother-in-law, stepmom is somehow a part of the corruption in a way that was defamation or whatever, I could see that as a much more justifiable defamation type of lawsuit rather than a lawsuit about them reporting that there hadn't been donations. It was very, very different if those are the two cases. So with that, I'm probably going to go back and watch those videos, see what was created. I do hope that Jirard can honestly step away from his family's shadow that they have put on him and start to shine again. Because Jirard always came off as an authentic guy. He always came... There's a reason that whenever he had these revelations and whatnot come out, he was very, like, everyone was surprised by it. Because no one expected this from him. He was authentic. He was honest and straightforward. No one suspected that he would be lying about the charity or anything like that. So I've always had this view that Jirard was an honest kid, man, whatever. And that my initial thing was that his family was bad. And I wished that his first thing he'd have just said, it's my dad and my brother. I'm just a face for charity, for fundraising for the charity. And I don't have anything to do with the accounting side of it. I wish that in 2023 he had just said, we are looking for a partner for this year. Or this year we are looking for a partner. He could have used legalese to word it. In all honesty. As soon as he knew what was happening, he still could have legalized the wording to say, this year we are looking for a partner. Let us know if you have a suggestion. At the same time, Carl and Mudahar basically torpedoed their ability to be reputable with foundations that they could have donated to by throwing this out so fast. So with that, it's just, I feel like this was, I have to wonder who messaged both Carl and Mudahar saying that they hadn't donated. Because I'm curious who it is. I'm just curious. But I'm willing to bet within the next week, Carl is going to release a thing where he tries to refute everything about this. But Carl's already burned his bridge under me. He was caught misleading me and all of his viewers about all sorts of stuff. He should have stuck with speedrunning stuff. I'm not watching anything of his now, unless it's for content purposes, personally. But it's just kind of gross that he was lying about stuff with Billy. Like, he made all of us think that the lawsuit was about Billy not wanting him to say that he was fraudulent or cheated to get his high scores, when really the whole thing was about other things that he did to to give Billy a bad characterization. You know, my tongue and mouth is not working right now. So the point is, I think I'm going to go back and watch all those videos for him. I hope he does create stuff. I understand that he's starting out fresh again. I hope that some of his friends come back and go, hey, we wish we could have known this, because I wish I could have known it from the start. If I'd have known this from the start, I'd have been immediately on a much more nuanced level, but I only got one side. Because I listened to the whole Discord call, and it sounded very, very much to me like exactly what I'm saying. He was caught between his dad and the organization stuff being revealed, because he didn't want to call out his dad and brother, but he also didn't want it to come out because it would ruin him as well. So it's one of those things where he's like, damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. And so I feel for him on this, and I hope that he can grow past this. I hope that he can recover, actually. This is one of those cases where it's like, oh, it sounds super bad at the start. It's like the Dan Avidan thing, where the one girl said, hey, if you sleep with Dan, don't expect him to, like, want a relationship. Makes sense to make that statement. But then it quickly evolved into a bunch of people starting drama that Dan uses his influence to get girls in bed, when it's like, no, that's called being a groupie. He's part of a band. Groupies have existed literally forever. There's nothing new about this. Usually the girls that become groupies aren't expecting relationships. This girl did. And she never said that Dan was anything other than kind to her. She just said that she was hoping for more and not to expect it if you're another girl. But go give this a watch from his channel. Don't just watch it here. honestly, it's added a ton of nuance to this, and with the things that have come out since this whole drama roll happened a year ago, I have lost a lot of... I mean, both Carl and Mudahar in the last year have lost credibility in the communities. Jirard, everything other than the threat for the lawsuit, which could be justified. I don't know exactly why he added that part in the first one. Everything else has come across as authentic in whatever way. I think that he needs to avoid talking about his mom's illness when unnecessary. When it's necessary, like his example here, is important. Yeah, talk about it. But, I mean, it sucks. I hate that his channel basically got squashed because the two of them were more interested in the content than the results. Like I said, I'd have given him 1 month to do it, or else I'd have released the video. I'd have told him straight up, look, we care more about getting the charity to donate than we do about roasting your charity. The fact that Carl put out a thing saying, at what point did I ever say I cared about the charity? That's disgusting to me. He lost all points of respect. Anything that was left on that was gone when I saw that. I don't know where that was. But yeah, absolutely not. I am not for that type of attitude. If I was doing that, my whole thing would have been about getting the money donated, not about the content. It's right in here. Because this also, he keeps doing this shit, and I make videos to entertain people and to make money. If a criminal gets exposed while doing that, it's just a bonus. Firstly, you're opening yourself up by saying criminal. Well, I guess he didn't specifically say Jirard. This one. I never claimed I was doing this for the betterment of charity. That's the whole reason I would be doing it. I would literally only care about the fact that people... Like, that's why I hated hearing that Iron Mouse's charity thing lost $500,000 because an agency took it. Because it's gross. People, when they give to charity, it's about charity. If you allow people to defraud people in the name of charity, you're going to end up with worse donations to charity. It's going to be gross. It's going to be bad. And so with that, it would have been, content would have been a secondary for me in Carl's position. For him, it wasn't even a thought. It was just a big breaking story that he could cover. And that's the grossest part of journalism in today's day and age. It's not about, doing what's right by the people who did it. He's not doing a story so that the people that donated feel like they are able to get their donations through to the charity or to the organization through the charity. No. His was all about content. And I have noticed that about him quite a bit. More and more lately. He's not about being an honest person. He's about, how can I play word games? How can I legalese? How can I debate term everything? He's trying to redefine definitions so that he can wiggle room perception of things. Jirard didn't sound like he was trying to weasel anything. In this entire 45-minute video, he didn't sound like he was trying to weasel anything. He sounded like he was just coming clean, being honest and open. And with that, I don't know what to say past that. I'm with Jirard more than I'm with Carl at this point. I don't know exactly what happened with Mudahar to get him, other than him lying about his job stuff. But, it's one of those things that I don't know what's going on with this specifically. But Jirard had a bad response the first time, but was pretty hamstrung by legal side stuff. Now he's made a full video and has committed to whatever the DOJ result shows, releasing it. In all honesty, I'm expecting Jirard to be clean. His brother may be in trouble, and I think that may be why he's saying no matter what happens, we're still brothers. Is because he may know that the DOJ is going to do something to his brother. He may know. I am not conspiracy theorying. I'm just saying, out of all the potential roads in front of us, there is a potential road that his brother goes to jail for doing something improper. There may be a road where his dad goes to jail for something improper. I'm not so sure about it, but let me just say this. I'm not implying that his brother's going to go to jail. I'm not implying that Open Hand actually took any money. I'm just implying that I don't know where the DOJ results come from, but I see almost a zero chance that Jirard gets arrested. I do see possibilities where his family does. And that's the thing. His relationship with his family changed. Everything with his family has changed. And he said that him and his brother are still family, even if they don't get along, and he hopes it can be like it used to. In other words, they've had a big fucking falling out. Anyways. Alright, this ran really long, but I'm really glad I listened to this, and I'm really glad I watched this, because this is big. It does make a big impact on all of this. And in all honesty, I'm big on the idea of accepting flaws in humanity. Jirard screwed up. He's admitted he screwed up every step of the way. Well, the first time he kind of said, we did nothing wrong. Morally, you did do something wrong by keeping it and lying, but you may be talking about legally wrong the first time. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Carl has been acting like he's holier than thou and doing everything for the right reasons when all he cares about is the content, clearly. So with that, go over to Jirard's video, give it a watch, give it a comment. Whether that comment is with him or against him, let him know, not me. You can give me a comment as well, letting me know if you disagree or agree on different things, or if I'm not thinking about something, because I'm not perfect. I'm flawed, just like every other human being. That's a part of being a human being. We are flawed creatures. But with that, leave a comment, subscribe. This is one of my first videos. I just didn't expect this to drop today. I expected to be able to start doing my streaming and then have this drop, or, sorry, not have this drop. I didn't expect this at all, but have content start to drop over here. But, yeah, so leave a comment, subscribe, share the video, go over to the Completionist and let him know how you feel now that you're getting to hear his side. Whether it is positive or negative, let him know. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.